Because suddenly crime wasn't just about what people said. It was about the matter itself being recorded. A quick context break. In professional environments, people don't fail because they lack insight. They fail because insight doesn't survive the time, the stress, or the distraction. MindForge changes that. It's a focused 30-day training program that teaches you how to store and retrieve information deliberately, not passively. If this series resonates with you, that's the skill set that makes it operational. omniscient-insights.com/MindForge, or this, or it's in the description. I'll see you there. Up to now, the Sherlock method has been built in layers. Bell taught us how to see. Little John taught us how to prove. VDoc taught us how to enter systems without ever being noticed. There's still a problem. Observation could be challenged. Testimony could be disputed. Undercover intelligence could just be denied. Now, what investigators needed was something more stubborn than opinion. Something that didn't care who you were, something that didn't forget, something that didn't even lie. And that's where the next real Sherlock enters the picture. A man who proved that contact itself is evidence. His name was Edmund Locard. And here's the idea that he gave the world. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Every time two objects come into contact, something is exchanged. Fibers, dust, skin cells, residue. You cannot touch the world without leaving something behind. And you cannot move through a space without taking something with you. This became known as Locard's exchange principle, and it quietly rewired criminal investigation forever. Because suddenly crime wasn't just about what people said. It was about the matter itself being recorded. Edmund Locard was a French criminologist working in the early 20th century. He wasn't a police officer in the traditional sense. He was something new. A man obsessed with the idea that crime could be approached as a hard science, not a narrative contest. Locard believed that intuition was unreliable, even expert intuition. So instead of sharpening instinct, he focused on systems. He built one of the world's first dedicated police laboratories in Lyon, not because he was a real big fan of the technology, but because he distrusted memory, bias, and human confidence. He wanted evidence that survived the investigator. Now, Locard didn't just admire Holmes. He taught Holmes. Literally. He instructed his police students to read Sherlock Holmes stories as instructional material, not because they were fiction, but because Holmes represented the correct reasoning process. Locard believed Holmes showed investigators how to think. Locard then showed them how to verify. That's a very important connection. Holmes gives you the logic, and then Locard gives you the confirmation. That's why Locard is often called the real-world completion of Sherlock Holmes. He took deduction out of the study and embedded it into the laboratory procedure. Now, Locard's genius wasn't in inventing little gadgets. It was in reframing attention. He taught investigators to stop asking what happened and start asking what touched what. That shift changes everything. A suspect doesn't just enter a room. They disturb it. They shed fibers from clothing. They pick up dust from the floor. They transfer material to surfaces and objects. And those traces don't require confession. They don't require cooperation. They exist whether the suspect wants them to or not. Locard famously solve cases by analysing things as small as pink cosmetic powder under fingernails, linking suspects to specific environments that they denied ever entering. This is Sherlock Holmes' obsession with ash and mud and soil, but realised in the really real world. Lockhart didn't just add tools, he changed standards. After Lockhart, investigators couldn't simply say, "I believe this happened." They had to answer what trace supports that belief? And then more importantly, what trace would disconfirm it? This forced humility into investigation because matter doesn't care about your theory. It either supports it or it doesn't. And that single idea is why modern forensics even exists at all. But there is a mistake people make with it, even today. They think Lockhart only matters to crime scenes. He doesn't. Trace thinking applies everywhere. Lesson 1. Behaviour always leaves residue. In conversations, organisations, digital environments, behaviour leaves patterns, not vibes or impressions. Patterns. Repeated phrasing, timing inconsistencies, environmental disturbances. If you look for effects, not intentions, your accuracy improves. Lesson 2. Systems beat memory. Lockhart built labs because memory lies. Your own memory included. Checklists, processes, documentation, those aren't always bureaucratic. They are protective. And lesson 3. Don't look for the dramatic clue. Lockhart didn't chase smoking guns. He chased consistency. Small things that shouldn't be there, or should be there, but aren't. That's still where the truth hides. Lockhart actually once solved the murder by identifying the exact blend of face powder found under a suspect's fingernails, then tying them to a woman they claimed never to have met. No confession, no witness, just trace evidence. The crime spoke for itself, almost. So Bell teaches Holmes how to see. Little John taught him how to prove. Vidocq taught him how to move unseen. Lockhart taught him something final. That you can't pass through the world without consequence. Every action leaves evidence. Every contact leaves a trace. And once you understand that, the question is no longer, can I read people? It becomes, do I know where to look? Now, in the next episode, we shift away from laboratories and back out onto the street, because the next real Sherlock wasn't even a scientist at all. He was a master of disguise, who turned being overlooked into a weapon.